Patrick Zuluaga, welcome to Business Insider.
Thanks, Mark. Glad to be on the program.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
You have, all right, that's enough. No more nice guy. You've been around the coast for a while, and PMZ marketing. If someone on the coast doesn't know that badge, Patrick, and I was going to actually ask, look, take it off, Patrick, but I think you'd fall to pieces if you actually took it off. So, but if someone doesn't know you, then they don't get out. You know, you've got multiple levels of exposure. We might talk about some of the networks and some of the not-for-profit and the BiUC, which you're chair of. We might talk about that a bit later. But I also warned you, I want to hear about what you've done over the last 10 years to get PMZ marketing to where it is. Can you choose maybe one or two strategies that you've developed over that time that has kind of built PMZ into what it is?
Yeah, I think there have been basically two key ones that I think have helped me with the business. First one is, there's an attitude that I have is to always help people. When I say people, businesses, when I converse with them, even if it's the first time I may have met a new person, I share my knowledge and expertise freely. Freely.
Patrick, I'm going to talk to you.
Freely. Absolutely freely. Because that I enjoy that. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And I guess that feeling of enjoyment translates to how people will react with me. So that's probably the first one. And that's the same thing I do in everything. And the second one would be seminars, workshops, being a speaker, getting in front of people. I do enjoy it as well. I love it. And sure, it's promoting me and promoting my business. But again, it's sharing. That's what I love doing. It's sharing, providing information and knowledge, and people respond to that. People will feel, oh, he's providing that kind of information freely. And obviously, in many cases, they come back to me with, so can you help me now?
And I'll pay you now.
Implement those things.
Yeah.
And yes, and that all helps, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talk about defining what separates us, because you're in a consulting space and an advising space. And we are overpopulated on the States, but on the coast. But I also know you've just spent time in Northern Territory, and we need to talk about that before we finish today too. But what do you pitch, Patrick? What is it that the big paddle would get if they called in Patrick from PMZ Marketing or Business Insider, even more relevant? What would they get? What separates you from the rest of the consultants out there?
Oh, first, I don't consider myself a consultant.
Right.
Okay? And the reason for that is I see a consultant as someone who comes in, gives advice, and leaves. I don't see that as I see PMZ marketing as actually getting involved in the customer's objectives so they will achieve real results from their marketing activities. There's so many marketeers out there, really so many, that will all they're looking for is, how can I get you to spend on advertising campaigns and marketing campaigns to extract that and build the so-called images and branding. Okay? I could be a bit controversial here, and I basically say,
let me encourage that, Patrick.
Small and medium businesses should never spend on image and branding campaigns alone.
Patrick,
right?
Just to interrupt, we may subtitle that in case any of our viewers have got it mistaken, because we are going through that very state now, and they're spending, and this will horrify you, significant businesses on the coast believe there is a brand job to be done. They're not big businesses, they're not operating in the I would love to, we might take you out on a speaker circuit and get you to talk to a few people. Okay, so it is about, if it's not branding, what is it?
It's basically direct response marketing. That's what it's all about. Putting out an offer with a call to action, with a limited time frame, so that every dollar a small or medium-sized businesses will spend on marketing will get $1 or more in return. That's what it's all about. That's what PMZ marketing is. It's getting the better results. Making sure you get that return for your marketing.
It's not just web. You'll advise.
Oh, no, it's not just web. Web is just a channel to market. Most small businesses should have a web, and as you know, a lot of them still don't. But it's all about what is the best medium, the best channel to reach out to your market. And funny enough, a lot of people don't even understand who their target market is, so let alone come up with the idea, and how will I communicate my message?
Patrick, I need you to talking about channels, identifying markets. Tell me where you had your last client meeting.
This is on a seaside beach around a campfire in an island called Alco Island, or Ginuiku in the local dialect.
In Northern Territory.
The Northern Territory.
An hour and a half flight out of Darwin.
That's right, yeah.
With the elders, and what were you talking about?
We were talking about, funny enough, putting up a website to sell their art online throughout the whole world, not just in Australia, but throughout the whole world. Here was a small, isolated island around a campfire, probably the most ancient social event, camping and talking around a campfire, with one of the most modern ways, talking about an online store to sell the art they produce.
That's exciting, Patrick.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah. Okay. The next 12 months, you've had, let's just recognise it is about you going out. You spent a couple of days at the business chamber, the Australian Business Convention, getting yourself out there. It doesn't happen without that effort, and I think again a lot of people don't understand that you've actually got to put yourself out there and you've got to sell yourself. And that, we'll talk about it maybe a bit later. The next 12 months, what's it look like for you, PMZ? Is it, or PZ?
PMZ marketing.
PMZ. What's the challenge? What do you think is going to happen in the next 12
Well, the
months?
challenge is I'd like to do more seminars and workshops. I've kind of let that down the last 2 years because I've been doing more networking and involvement in non-profit organizations, sharing myself. I think I'll be looking at doing a lot more conferences and seminars and workshops because I enjoy that as well. It's a one-to-many share. A person-to-person thing is a good thing.
And you're going to charge them for that too, Patrick. I insist. One of the things you don't charge them for is
No, I'm not going to charge them for that.
No. Chairmanship at the Business Central Coast Business Enterprise Centre.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I actually joined the Central Coast Business Enterprise Centre with an invitation from you.
I do.
You first introduced that to me to become a mentor. I was, how many years ago now? It's probably 6 or 7 years ago.
That's long. Yeah.
Yeah, so I contribute my time and effort to share and to help the business here in the Central Coast. Same thing with the small and medium, small business networking group. I'm also in the board of the Wine Chamber. And that's all what I think is important. People need to share and give back. I earn my living out of the PMZ marketing, but then we, as individuals, need to come back to the community and give it back. And that's my way of giving back, sharing my time and my expertise with these non-profit organizations.
That may be where your rant goes, but right now I'd love to invite you to spend 60 seconds talking about something you would love to change in the business world.
Well, what I'd love to change really is the attitude of small business toward marketing. A lot of them just spend money on marketing without really analyzing what they're doing. And in some cases they just say, oh, I've done that many years, so I'm going to do it again. When they should really be focusing on what is your target market, who is your target market, what is the message I should be sending, and getting them to get a loop back in terms of conversions. Branding, image building can be achieved by direct marketing response programs, basically because you're putting yourself out there, but you're becoming more relevant to your target audience. And the secret here is, and this is where every single small business should focus on, is to join the conversation that's happening in everyone's mind. If you're my target audience, I need to understand what's going on in your mind. What are you talking about?
It's a challenge,
right?
but yes.
Right? It is a challenge. Definitely it's a challenge. But if you can come up with the emotive response that's happening in your mind at any point in time and come up with a message that when you read it, oh, that's me. I need to talk to that person. Then all of your marketing activities will produce results.
I have been amazed in the last couple of weeks. We've been going out to the marketplace to sell space on Business Insider. I have been amazed and shocked that there is significant numbers, and I'm talking 97% of the businesses that I talk to see this as just another cost. And both you and I talk about investment, just another cost. And I've had people come back and say, look, I've locked my advertising in, my marketing in for the next 12 months. Do you see them? What can we do about them, Patrick?
First off, marketing is not advertising. Okay, that's a lot of confusion in the marketplace.
Maybe I've just continued it.
Because a lot of the people selling advertising portray it as marketing, when in fact advertising is just a channel to the market. You should be looking at marketing. What is marketing? Marketing is understanding your clients, understanding what is relevant to them, making offers, being able to communicate to them in their language, joining them where they like to be. That's marketing. And advertising is just a small subset. But it takes so much time of small businesses because they're focused on advertising.
Because they're not getting into the brain.
That's absolutely right, yeah.
We've talked about how much you give to the Central Coast because you want to give back and you encourage others to do that as well. From what you've seen, what would you like to see change to help move the coast forward and be productive, be an employment centre, encourage us to employ our youth and educate our youth, tackle some of those core issues that the Central Coast is facing? What can we do?
Well, that's a big question, as you know.
A massive
question. But from my perspective, small business is the key. If we can grow the success of our small business will soak up a lot of that labor that's out there, the young unemployed and the more elder who are having strict problems traveling back and forth. If they can share that knowledge in small business, and if we can encourage small business to grow here in the Central Coast. There was a speaker in the Australian Business Chamber that I recall quite well, and one of the things he said was, the driver of a successful community is the prosperity of the business in that community. So that's what we need to do. We should be able to encourage small business to become successful, more knowledgeable, more skilled at being results driven, so that the community will also grow in employment, in benefits, in money. All of that will be revolving around small business. Not large business, small business.
I agree totally. Are there impediments that we need to address then?
I think there's a lack of knowledge with a lot of the small business entrepreneurs. A lot of them go into business because they like what they do. Probably they don't realize the implications of what they're going to be doing. So somehow there should be a way of harnessing those new people coming into the business and helping them. The Central Coast Business Enterprise Center tries to reach out to a lot of people. But even with the best efforts of the Business Enterprise Center and the other government entities and consultants, I don't think we reach everyone we should be reaching. So somehow we should be able to leverage that communication.
Should we be looking to businesses themselves and maybe the medium to large size businesses to help fund that? That escalation of commercial growth?
I guess from a small and medium large and medium business perspective, the question is always related to why should I? Why should a large business help small businesses grow?
Patrick, I'm going to throw that back. We've had Ken Baker sitting in this chair, Frank Zammit. You know, the fact is, Patrick Zuluaga is in this chair, probably spends as much time in unpaid supportive work. So no, I'm not going to let you get away with, you know, the question is, why should I? Because we should. We have the right, and this is me now on a rant, thank you for giving this up. We have an obligation as successful business, or pending, in our case, successful businesses, to get out there and do stuff. We have no right to sit back and blame government and blame other people. Has there always been work-life balance? Can small business expect that, or medium-sized business expect it, and is it conscious? Tell me about your experience there.
Probably, if you ask me, I'd like to have more balance in one side than the other. But as small business owners, we need to focus on the fact that there's only one reason for your success, and that's yourself, right? You need to work it as well. So having the balance, as far as I'm concerned, is putting some time schedules. And you probably have heard me a number of times say Mondays for this, Tuesdays for that, Friday afternoons I...
Don't meet. You don't meet. I know that, Patrick.
I enjoy myself with Agnes. It's basically Friday afternoons fine. I do work as well during weekends as well, I won't deny that. Perhaps it's an attitude. It's an attitude thing. I don't feel burdened by the fact that I'm running a business. The problems I have, one of the techniques I use when I come through the door is I touch a leaf beside the front door. That leaf is where I leave all the problems, and it's a dying plant.
That's a pity, Patrick.
I get into the...
Someone's got to water it. Touching it is not good enough. Okay.
So I get into the house and I leave it there. So it's a conscious decision on my part to...
That's nice.
To separate business from family life,
So it's conscious and disciplined because you are...
Yeah, you got to have a schedule,
because I can vouch for that. You are... I've often tried to meet with you Friday afternoons and it just doesn't. Mr. Zuluaga, it's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you for having me, Mark.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thanks a lot.